Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. It was my dear friend Rabbi Barry's birthday. He always goes home to celebrate. He's quite the traveler. Began in San Francisco, moved to Florida, then Texas for the last 10 years. And now he is off to Colorado. I was toting my pack along the dusty Winnebago Road when along came a semi with a canvas-covered load. If you go to Winnebago Mac with me, you can ride. So I climbed into the cab and then I settled down inside. Asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand. I said, listen, I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the desert there, man. I breathe the mountain air. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. And this week, we're actually going to be reading about the further journeys of the great patriarch Abraham and the biggest journey of all, the journey of faith we are all on. Coming up next week will be Baruch's birthday. He's always had a special place in the hearts of all who know him, one of my great inspirations and mentors. And in the hope that memory isn't as short as it appears now. This past week was another dark anniversary. I alluded to it last week, the anniversary of Kristallnacht, the 86th anniversary of the Night of Broken Glass, a government-sanctioned pogrom conducted on Jews on November 9th and 10th, 1938. As the Germans smashed synagogues, Jewish businesses throughout the Reich. And I fear today, too many people forget the horrors and inhumanity of man to man. Too many people preaching practices. Don't let them tell you what you wanna be. Too many people holding back. This is crazy, maybe not like me. Not people are like a lot of people pay attention anymore. Too many people have been turning this blind eye. Wake up, look around. Now, as I mentioned last week, on November 7th, Amsterdam witnessed Europe's first pogrom since 1945. About 3,000 Israeli Jews were in town to watch Maccabi Tel Aviv play a soccer league match against the Dutch team. And between midnight and dawn, local Muslims and Arabs launched what they called a Jew hunt. We are witnessing a society in free fall and a futuristic replay of the worst moments in Europe's recent past. And it's all being recorded on messaging apps and filmed for social media. As one man screamed, "I'm not Jewish," a thug punched him in the face. It's now infected Paris and Spain. And there's another dangerous anti-Israel measure at the UN Security Council. A draft resolution demanding a permanent Gaza ceasefire, which of course fails to ask for or secure the release of the more than 100 hostages still being held by the terrorist organization, including Americans. When did you think you would see America bend the knee to terror? My friends, this cannot pass. Because once passed, it cannot be rescinded without Russian or Chinese support, and that will never happen. Now, in case you didn't realize it, the election is over, and it's time to see the American view of Israel for what it has become. I pray this will not be Obama 2.0 with that disgraceful absentee vote in December of 2016 that condemned Israel that has never been rescinded either. Now, as I also understand it, there's a new Netflix film. Now, that's a station I've actually never seen, starring Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter himself, about a woman who has been referred to as the most famous Jewish mother of all, Mary. And there's been a meltdown going on because an Israeli actress was given the title role. So people seem to be upset that a Jewish woman of the land 2,000 years ago is being played by a Jewish woman today. I don't understand that. You know, no matter how hard you try, you can't just rewrite history. It wasn't that long ago people screamed when an Asian didn't get a Scarlett Johansson role, or that Gal Gadot, a non-Egyptian, was going to play Cleopatra. Now we're just doing the opposite. It's so bad that the Israeli government is telling its citizens, and therefore Jews everywhere, not to attend sporting events in foreign countries. They're not safe. And many are being told not to wear symbols of their faith. We have watched and allowed and accepted hate for far too long. I have wandered through this world, and as each moment has unfurled, I've been waiting to awaken from these dreams. People go just where they will. I never noticed them until I got this feeling that it's later than it seems. Doctor, my eyes, tell me what is wrong. Was I unwise to leave them open for so long? Now I hope you all lit candles for Remembrance or Veterans Day, and I'll remind you we have a memorial lighting service coming up on December 1st. So anyone who wants a candle lit for somebody, let me know. We'll take care of it for you. I would also love if you could just take a little bit of time today to sit. Let the voices in your head tune down a bit. Now, you know, when motivation fades and doubts arise, the choices you make and the actions you take become those true tests of character. Seeking mystical experiences as evidence of progress can simply become another search for achievement and status. Don't look outside. Look within. So where is this voice of reason that we're calling for? When will this all end? Where are all the so-called sane, sensible people who understand common sense? We all like to pretend our truth is the truth. But our truth is just truth to us. We rarely really want to see the capital T truth that applies to everybody. We may not like everything everyone says, but we don't have to agree. We don't have to listen, but we should always defend everyone's right to say what they will without putting our own judgments in place. Today's judgment will not be tomorrow's. Look at how things change over time. Look at how things have changed very rapidly these days. I was having a discussion with a dear friend, and they threw out that age-old homily, we only live once. And I reminded them, we actually only die once, but we can live every day. Taste the fullness of life every day, my friends. Time is the one commodity you cannot replace. So let's spend some of our time now coming together as a group to honor and pray and observe, as a community celebrating common belief and faith, collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love, because we are a true chavura fellowship, to express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes. Unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we're still individual in our approach, because we each connect in his or her or their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov. Shevet Tehim Kam Yachad. Hine Matov. Shevet Tehim Kam Yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. Now we support each other in this community, so let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your intention, your kavana, that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you can control, of what you can correct. It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. It just floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out. For those you know, and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever. that needs healing and renewal and love or just plain goodwill, focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam, that is part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And a part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick, even though it is usually, like said is the prayer for the sick. But it's for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers for those who truly do need assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us, and continue to send healing energy for those hostages, still held, still in prison, still languishing in the pit of despair until they are free. And for those closer to us, for Brenda, Becca, for Leo and Callie, for Bill and Miriam, for Shayna and Amin and AJ, for Jessica, Gabby, Trevor, for Bonnie, Terry and Luke, for Carson, for Sabrina and Dave, for Maria and Paul, for Pammy, for Marlo, for Lucy and Gloria, for Inura, for Alana, my dear friend, for Johnny and Fern, for Kathleen, for Carla and Mina, for Charles, for Maria and John, for Doria, for Connie, for Ronnie, for Tally, for Mayim, for Nina and Danny, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, my friends. For everyone you know in need, for the whole world, but always for the bee. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing, which is goodwill and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a source of spirit. And spirit, my friends, never dies. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say Amen. Mishmerach, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, because we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Mishmerach, may He who bless, because all healing's a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now, this is the reading for the Ides of November. We all know the Ides, but we think of them only in March, when Caesar was warned and assassinated. Well, did you know the Roman calendars once only had 10 months? And to keep things on track, they, like the Hebrew calendar still does, injected a leap month to keep things on track. And whereas it's fixed in the Hebrew calendar, for the Romans, it was the Pontifex Maximus, the high priest, who could determine when the extra month could be added. And the Roman months only highlighted certain days. They actually only highlighted 3 days. The calends being the first day of a month, a word derived from the Greek kalen, which meant announce, hence the announcement of a new moon. The nones, which is about the 7th and marked the first quarter moon. And of course the Ides, the one we're the most familiar with, and that's generally around the 13th to the 15th of a month, and it marks a full moon. All the other days of the month were based on those 3 markers and were simply counted from those days. So our reading for the Ides is actually the penultimate reading in Judaism, Vayera, and He appeared. Now remember last week we had Lech Lecha, go, you go, and repeated double infinitive means instructions, not just go, but you better go. Well, you're going to see the double take a new turn this week. When God calls someone and says their name twice, it marks a life-defining event. Genesis 18:1. And he appeared to him at the oaks of Mamre, and he was sitting at the tent entrance in the heat of the day, and he raised his eyes and saw. And here were 3 people standing over him. And he saw and ran toward them from the tent entrance and bowed to the ground. Now, is Abraham meeting God, people, or those magical, mystical creatures? Angels. Now, the word angel is the English version of the Greek angelos. The Hebrew was melech, whose root would be mem, lamed, kaf. Every word has a three-letter root. Think of it as MLK. And that meant messenger. So the original term for angel was a messenger. Now the word king, malach, has the same root, MLK. And the king was the political messenger of God. Remember, there were no vowels in biblical Hebrew, and so we're still not sure of all the words we read and quote. But angels immediately get you thinking. You, angel, you got me under your wings. The way you walk, the way you talk, I swear it would make me sing. Now, who doesn't love angels? But it's very confusing. How do you see angels? Now, we're all different. We all have our own idea as to who they are, what they look like. Don't get wrapped up in some of these philosophical questions. You know what? You believe in God or you don't. You believe angels or messengers of God exist or they don't. You have set your own beliefs around them. This is not about convincing anyone of anything. Instead, let's focus on the messages here. And he said, "My Lord, if I found favor in your eyes, do not pass on from your servant." Well, scholars have settled on Abraham talking to God and two angels. I can't prove it to you. It doesn't matter. But this is an amazing reading. It is the story of angels and God, of the Great Annunciation. Now just go to Florence to the Uffizi and see the Great Annunciation by Leonardo. One of the most magical paintings of all time. Well, these texts here indicate what angels were conceived of as expressions of God's presence. See, they were not the little cherubs we like to picture. The consistent biblical conception of God is that God cannot possibly be seen by a human. Exodus 33:20, a human will not see me and live. And God cannot be contained in any known space. 1 Kings 8:27, the heavens will not contain you. God in this conception can still make himself known to humans by sort of emanation that's visible to human eyes, hence angels. Now we then have the Great Annunciation, Genesis 18:10, and he said, "I shall come back to you at the time of life, and here Sarah your wife will have a son." Abraham's 100, Sarah's 90. And Sarah laughed inside and said, "After I've become worn out, am I to have pleasure? And my Lord is old." Well, you know what? This is a message to all of us, that you're never too old to have pleasure in life. So continue to seek it, my friends. And when you read this, I want you to take note of the discussion about to take place, because this parsha is about relationships. It's between host and guest, husband and wife, father and son. And all are influenced by the ultimate relationship, man and his creator. So God and Abraham are about to have a chat regarding people and their morals, their behaviors, their attitudes. Genesis 18:20. And the Lord said, "The cry of Sodom and Gomorrah, how great it is, and their sin, how very heavy it is. Let me go down. I'll see if they've done all told, like the cry that has come to me. And if not, let me know." And the people turned from there and went to Sodom. So we all know the story. God decides to let Abraham in on what he's planning. He's sending these other two beings, these angels, to go check on Sodom. If it's as God has heard, he will destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. But that's not what he's really doing. He's God. He already knows the answer. He's sending them to simply speak to Lot. And so that we will then have witnesses confirming for us what's going on. And Abraham suddenly becomes a great bargainer, the defender of humanity, and he speaks up. Genesis 18:23, and Abraham came over and said, Will you also annihilate the virtuous with the wicked? Maybe there are 50 virtuous within the city. Will you also annihilate and not sustain the place for the 50 virtuous who are in it? Far be it from you to do a thing like this, to kill virtuous with wicked. It'll be the same for the virtuous and the wicked. Far be it from you. Will the judge of all the earth not do justice? Okay, so here's this guy bargaining with God. And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 virtuous people within the city, I'll sustain the whole place for their sake. Well, Abraham continues to negotiate, and he ultimately negotiates down to 10 virtuous people. But we all know what happens. God does destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, but he allows Lot, his wife, and family to escape. Lot's wife is told not to look back, but she does, and is turned into a pillar of salt. Because you see, my friends, when you are moving forward in life, you don't look back. You look forward. So after the destruction of the cities, Lot gets drunk and he gets both of his daughters pregnant. Kind of like Noah after the flood, Genesis 19:36. And Lot's 2 daughters became pregnant by their father. A perfect example of moral turpitude. Then we have the miracle birth occurring. Genesis 21:2, when Sarah became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time that God had spoken. Sarah now has a son, but her jealousy of Hagar and her son, Abraham's firstborn, who she does not want to inherit, causes her to have them thrown out and put to the desert to die. And her view was, let them try and survive. This was the rightful firstborn heir of Abraham being driven out with his wife. Now, we are told by angels that they'll be okay. In fact, they will thrive. It's so important is this reading that we read it every year during the High Holy Days. Genesis 22:1. And it was after these things God tested Abraham, and he said to him, Abraham. And he said, I'm here. Well, what's interesting is the Greek and Samaritan versions have his name called twice. Abraham, Abraham. Here we get the first of the double name calling formula. You'll see it used in key places throughout the Torah. And it is a life-defining moment whenever it occurs. It marks the near sacrifice as a defining event in Abraham's life and in the destiny of his descendants. And this incident with Isaac is unlike any other in the Bible. And we'll talk more about that later. Genesis 22:2, when he said, take your son, your only one whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah, make him a burnt offering there on one of the mountains that I'll say to you. I have followed that same journey. I walked that same road. I looked up. I saw the mountain that I'll say to you. Now, Rashi, in his Torah commentary, wrote a brilliant analysis of this and filled in the missing pieces of the conversation, because we only see the one side of it. And it's really quite clever, and it's a parallel to the Lech Lecha, pack and go to a place that I'll tell you. Well, he's only got one son now. The other was sent off to die in the desert. So Abraham has to give up the only child he has, and probably now ever will have. So what does Abraham do? The man who bargained with God over strangers in Sodom does absolutely nothing. He does nothing to defend his son. He meekly obeys. He says nothing. He fought for strangers, but not for his son. He binds him. And he's ready to kill him. And yet we read next week that, Abraham had a whole lot of other sons. God said to Abraham, kill me his son. Abe said, man, you must be putting me on. God said, no. Abe said, what? God said, you can do what you want, Abe, but next time you see me coming, you better run. Abe says, where you want this killing done? God says, out on Highway 61. Genesis 22:3. 23, and Abraham got up early in the morning, harnessed his ass, took his 2 boys with him, and Isaac his son. He cut the wood for the burnt offering, and he got up and went to the place that God had said to him. Well, Isaac's not so dumb. He asked his father where the sacrifice is. Abraham said, God will provide it. And he then proceeds to bind his son to the altar, the ultimate test of faith. Genesis 22:10. And Abraham put out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. And an angel of the Lord called to him from the skies and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, I'm here. And he said, don't put your hand out toward the boy. And don't do anything to him. Isaac's life will never be the same. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love, share feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, all who live in the light. Continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, an end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other because we share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. Please do. Learn to forgive. Learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life to those you love, that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to print your will on the universe, because we set in motion what happens in our lives. It's our intention. Kavanaugh, our cause, our effect, everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But always do so with sincerity, with accountability, with vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. As you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world, just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining. Keep teaching, keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of your real power lies in your consciousness, in your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love at the heart. These are all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith, belief. Continue to see what they mean just to you. Forget about what other people think. Never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced, others have too. Because we share together, we learn together, and we help each other, because we are, each of us, trying to find support and love and acceptance. We all have or could have a special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. Because you're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Listen to that voice of God as he, she, it, them, they, whatever pronouns you like, talks to you. And remember, your connection to God and all he has created, body and soul, it's a part of me, it's a part of you, it's a part of everyone and everything forever. So listen to the voice, because God is talking to you, directing you, imploring you to follow. Now this week, you're reading about the most haunting relationship of all. Father and son, a relationship immortalized in literature, film, opera, life. And we're just at the beginning. How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go Now, for thousands of years, fathers and sons have spoken to each other in different languages. So much time and relationship have been lost, and time can never be replaced. Call your father. Call your son. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Have a great week, and I will see you all soon. Shabbat Shalom. Blessings to you all, and keep sending in the names of those you want us to light a candle for in the memorial of December the 1st. Take care. Bye.